Hi there, and good evening, and welcome back to my attempts at designing stuff live with FreeCAD while streaming them at the same time and having everyone comment on how good or how bad I'm doing. No, kidding aside, but yeah, so we are going to continue today with what we started last time, which is a new kind of backplate for my CO2 sensor. Let me quickly switch the top cam back on to show you again what I'm working on here. So this is the CO2 sensor in question. We are seeing that I have way too much CO2 level right now in here. And this is actually a first version of the final version of what I'm designing today here. But yeah, this basically, the screen thing is basically what this white thing used to be. And the reason that I need a new one is that I've pimped this thing. This has a little built-in debug interface that I was able to hook into with an ESP8266 running ESP Home. And by that now I can integrate this with every data, with all the data it puts out, so CO2 and temperature, into my home automation. And the problem was that it doesn't fit in here with this on. And the plate that I found on Thingiverse, designed by Stefan Kern, worked great. That was this one here. The only problem with that is that the ESP sits in the same room as the sensor, and that confuses it. Or rather, that influences it negatively because, of course, the ESP produces heat, and the CO2 sensor is quite heat sensitive with regards to its calibration, so that was an issue. I tried to solve the problem a bit with some Kapton tape and aluminum foil and stuff, but yeah, I still had some weird values, so the idea was to design a new backplate which houses the ESP on the outside in a little nuke. Basically, like, let me switch to the design that we were working on here. Basically like this. So this is where the ESP goes. This is where the cabling from inside, from the sensor comes through. Also, hi Alan Sparks, hi Mr. Jacob, hi Daniel, hi Tim. And then stuff can get closed up here with 2 screws and a little, sorry, that was the wrong thing to scroll, and a little lid that sits on top. And of course it also still needs some air holes here, some venting, for both the ESP and the sensor as well. And this is how far we came last time. And yeah, there are some problems with this, which happened because I was happily designing and not really looking at the original design. Because, for example, this pad here, this tab that is supposed to, hi Bernd, I guess it is you, probably, right? I mean, with this nickname, it can only be you. With this, so the design has, oh wait, I have to enable the top cam again. The design has these little, can you see that? Yeah, has these little tabs here on the side. And here I did the error of, in the last time I did the error that I just made him go through the whole length, which of course doesn't work. So I only need some really small ones here. And another problem here that this also causes is that the cutout for the lid is interfering with the tab here, which is causing issues with filleting, which are somewhat annoying. And then that was something that DJ Gumiku also asked on Twitter. I think he's not here yet, as far as I can see. So this thing is quite thick, and there's a lot of space here that is just solid material. And even with venting holes here, that will probably isolate and trap heat a lot, so it would probably make sense to hollow this here out. And something that I noticed with the prototype is actually that these little hook thingies here that I designed, which are the same thing as these here, they are actually in fact too thick. So the test design that I printed out doesn't work. It doesn't fit. I had to break 2 of them off in order to make it fit. So the plan for today is to, first of all, remove the top cam again. The plan for today is to make the tabs thinner to fix the whole situation here with these tabs, to hollow stuff out here, to add some venting here and here in the lid as well, and round everything over and all that, of course, as well. Hi, Mr. Tech Gadget. And something that I also noticed, which made my life a lot easier with the prototype, is so here I only planned for a 2mm hole to put the wiring through, for which I would have to desolder it again. I tested out a slot here with, I think, 3mm width. So width and length, something like, I don't know, I think I went for 20 or 25 or so. And that made threading the wiring through so much easier. So I'm going to go for that here again as well. So that is the idea. The plan for today, the battle plan, so to speak. Yeah. So first of all, we have to get rid of this whole tab situation here. And for that, it should suffice to just adjust the original pad that we did here, because that included these things here that we copied from our master sketch up here, which includes everything, the insert, the inside, the outside stuff and all that. And we are just going to remove that for now, so that it is smooth on the outside, and we don't have to, and then we'll add these later. And I'll also go through a bunch of options to do that, but and tell you why I will go with what I will go then. But first of all, let's clean this up. So also as a reminder for you, if you look down here in the lower left corner, the mouse is somewhat vanishing when it goes over this area here for you, right? That's weird. Does it do this? Yeah. Okay, that's odd. But as long as you see it here, it should hopefully be fine. If you look at the lower left corner of the screen, you see what FreeCAD version I'm using here, and it's not a vanilla version, it's the LinkStage. LinkStage a fork maintained by crap. The name escaped me right now. Real Thunder, of course, yeah. And it's version 2022-0111, so the one that got released this earlier this week. And if you need some, so if you're wondering why it looks like this and what else and all that, so I'm using vertical UI here, and all the setting adjustments that I did and such are also explained at fusel.net/go/FreeCAD setup, so that you can just look it up and replicate it if you want. And also, by the way, I can look it up and replicate it whenever I need to reinstall or something. So that's the idea here. Also, it's getting increasingly warm in here, so let me quickly take care. Oh dear. I almost ripped my headphones off. Yeah, also, if you are wondering why I'm wearing headphones, I noticed the last time that I really struggled a bit working on this without music. So I have music, you don't. Sorry, I couldn't find anything royalty-free in the short notice that or rather in the short time span that I made the decision that I needed some music this time around. So yeah, music, hooray. Okay, so we are getting rid of the tabs here, which is actually going to be fairly easy because we just have to delete this stuff. Or, you know what, we are going to make it even easier. We are going to delete everything. The master sketch is enabled. And we are simply going to copy the parts of our master sketch again that we want to extrude here. Sorry, we want to pad here. Hi, Schweitzer83. And then we have to make sure to convert that into regular geometry. And that should already be it. No, it isn't, because the datum plane was attached to this face, and now this face has been renamed. So we are going to set it again. And now something else is causing issues, and that are we are going to remove the fillets that we did earlier, because fillets always just mess with everything. As long as you are changing topology. Yeah, Yeah, you can always find the FreeCAD setup info link at the bottom of the screen at all given times. Just look at the bottom bar that I have there. It's fusel.net/go/FreeCAD_setup. So just look there. I think I might need some animated overlay to point people there from time to time, because last time also people were asking, where can I find the info? And yeah, apparently it's a bit too well hidden. Oh. Something is also being weird here with this extrusion, apparently. Oh well, we'll look into that. Okay, so first of all, you notice the tabs are gone now. And then we are also going to make the clips here slimmer, slightly slimmer. So currently they have the same... Oh man, things really are weird here. Wait, we have to clean this up first. So let's check things. So first we extrude in this direction, then we make a pocket here, then we create a new datum plane here, then we pad. What do we pad? The sketch? Ah, the clip. Okay, so we have to adjust this clip. Right now it's 1.9 and we're simply going to change it to... I mean, these clips are probably all not really needed and are going to break sooner rather than later anyhow. So I'm going to simply set it to 1.2 millimeter and let's see if it holds, and if not, then, well, we tried. And I think this, no, not this, but this. Should be going further, I think. Something is weird here. Let me check quickly why this is doing this inverted, basically. Did I put the datum plane on the wrong plane? Maybe that could actually be. I think it was supposed to go on the bottom side and not on the top side. Okay, wait. So we rehomed this. And that is probably the issue that we are seeing here now. Let's try this. Yeah, that looks way more sensible. And something with the recompute failed, probably further down, but we will check that later. Okay, so, but this looks good. Then we mirror this a bunch of times, and then we arrive at this point. Yeah. So now it's quite thick. Daniel says that often it is better to design walls as multiples of your extrusion width. Yeah, that is why I went with 1.2 millimeters, because I have an 0.4 nozzle. Hi, Gumiku. The setup link is right below in the bottom bar. Like basically, oh sorry, like basically there, over there, there. Right between FreeCAD LinkStage, blah, and my Twitter link. There you can find the setup link. So not on the screen, but below the screen. Where was I? Yeah, not on the... Gumiku, yeah, technically it is on the screen for you, but for me it is not, because it is, in fact, it is hovering over the taskbar on my second screen, which this here is mirroring. But okay, so what we are going to do now is, so we have this shape back now. You see this line here? This line is annoying, isn't it? And this line, wait, this line is what I'm talking about. And this line happens because we first extruded in this direction and then we extruded in the other direction. And I'm now going to get rid of this line by marking this pad, going, I think it was view. Was it view? No, it was data, right? I always have to look what I'm, yeah, and there set refine to true. And this doesn't work. It does work. It just needs a bit. So now we have a clear, beautifully cleaned up base shape. And now we can continue. So I mentioned that refine makes sure that lines that you do not need, because they are basically just on surfaces or something, or subdividing surfaces that are how do you say, are on the same plane anyhow, that gets rid of them. So you can also, there's a setting somewhere in FreeCAD where you can say that you always want to refine shapes, but there's a big fat warning about this in the community as well, because it can apparently cause issues. So I keep that disabled and instead just do a refinement operation on, or a refinement, put a refine parameter on stuff like this where I have more control over it. So yeah. And Schweitzer, I also so first of all, I started out with OpenSCAD. Then I tried my hand at FreeCAD, did a larger design with that. It constantly crashed back then. That was, I think, in 2015, 16, something like that. And then I went with Fusion, invested a lot of time in learning it, did everything with it. And then September 2020, I decided enough is enough when they changed their pricing structure. And I would possibly suddenly have had to pay a lot of money for something that I was not fully using. So Fusion is a piece of software that I actually kind of still like feature-wise, but it does so much more than what I need. I do not need CAM, so I don't need to plan CNC router movements. I don't need all this analysis stuff. All I need is some kind of visual way because OpenSCAD didn't do that for me. I need some visual way to just be able to define a sketch, extrude it, cut off pieces, fillet some stuff, and all that. And I get all of that from FreeCAD. And actually, FreeCAD is also now coming in along nicely with all the other stuff that Fusion does. So yeah. But speaking about OpenSCAD, I actually came across, just before my vacation, my Christmas vacation this year, I came across something called CAD Query, which is a Python library that uses OpenCascade as its render kernel, which is the same thing that powers FreeCAD, as far as I know. And you can then do what you can do in OpenSCAD, basically. So you programmatically define your shapes, but in Python code. And with the same kind of approach that you have here in FreeCAD, with like create a sketch, then pad it, and all that. So I really still want to give this a look. And see if this works for me, because this certainly sounds really powerful for some stuff as well. Also, I mean, it's Python, and I code pretty much all the time in Python thanks to Octoprint. So yeah. But okay, so we want to continue, and good thing that DJ Gumiku is here now, because we're now going to take care of something that he mentioned on Twitter, which is pocketing a part out here so that we do not have to, yeah, first of all, print out all of this massive piece here that we don't really need to be this thick. And so that the vent holes that we will add here later also don't have to go through so much material, and there will actually be some airflow and all that. So for that, we are going to take a look first of all into our master sketch here, because for the ESP cutout on the top, because this is where we will base the cutout on. Because the thing is that, of course, we need to preserve this part here where the screw will go through, and want to make sure that we do not overdo it here. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, we copy some geometry here from the bottom and the side as well. And then I'm going to briefly think how to continue. And then, yeah, then we will add an arc from here to there. Make sure that oh, that was a mistake. That arc isn't supposed to go from there to there, but actually just from about here to there. Then a line follows, which is horizontal. And the line follows here as well, which is horizontal. Horizontal, there we go. The info on what FreeCAD version this is also in the lower bottom, in the bottom bar. This is FreeCAD LinkStage version 2022-01-11. And I cannot do this offset thing when padding because I do not have anything yet defined here yet. So, and also what I want is, look at the bottom of this video. Look where usually there would be a Windows taskbar, and this is where all the info is. The same place that the link was, the same place that my Twitter handle is placed. And there is also the version number of FreeCAD that I'm using here, or rather of FreeCAD LinkStage. And yeah, I also have the impression that I need to make it blink or just give it some animation from time to time or something. So, okay, what I want here is I want the thing that I'm going to cut out here. I want that to be in line with these outer lines here, but keep some distance from the bosses here. Schweitzer, if you go to the setup link, there is also a link to where you can find LinkStage. So we are going to make this vertical, and this also puts this vertical, and then we are going to give this a distance of, oh, I don't know, this is just, let's make it 2 millimeters just to be on the safe side. And then we are going to, wait. This is a line, right? Yeah, this is a line, okay. Go there, and there, there, and there, and there, and will you please connect with this line already? And there we go. So this is the change to the master sketch that we did. Looks a bit weird, but should work, I hope. Might even be a bit much. I'm unsure right now. I mean, lots of distance here, but okay. So then we do this pocket here. And this pocket here. Just going through the steps. And this pocket here. Right. And then we are going to then we are going to the Automod decided that the word screw is apparently too offensive or something. Sorry for that, DJ Gumiku. Schweitzer, the change, there are a lot of changes. So best you just check out the LinkStage branch, and there's a lot of text there that tells you what the changes are. But the biggest thing, or the biggest reason that I use it, is actually that Rear Thunder did a lot of work to address the topological naming problem, which is where how best to explain that. So all these sides here, all the edges, all the faces, everything has an internal name. And when you change the thing that the face or the edge belongs to, the name changes. So if you now base a new sketch on this face, for example, and the face changes the name, then the sketch suddenly loses its footing and shows up somewhere else. And this is a huge problem when you have to change parts about your design at a later date. And that can really cause issues. And that is a general problem that all CAD programs have, but the default builds of FreeCAD have it somewhat more prominently than I was comfortable with. And it turns out that Real Thunder did a really nice job on addressing this a bit more better. So it still happens a bit, and we saw this earlier when I removed the tabs here from the side. And suddenly this cutout that I did here on the bottom was no longer, or rather the sketch for that was no longer having a footing in the thing. But so it still happens, but it happens less. And I don't know, I have a feeling, and I might be utterly mistaken, and O2O does the same thing now as well, but I have a feeling it's also more stable, to be honest. And yeah, that is a really nice summary of TNP. Also, hi Romsus. I have some horribly sore muscles from the bouldering session on Friday, just for the record. Okay, so new sketch. Oops, I forgot to activate this body. Okay, now new sketch. On the XY plane, but with a slight offset. And now I'm trying to remember how much I need to offset that to reach this surface here. And I think that was spreadsheet.plate thickness minus spreadsheet plate wall height. Because we measured this height here basically, and the thickness is the whole thickness of this thing, so this part here, and this is basically what we have at the bottom here. So we want to reach this, and that should hopefully make us reach it. And then I need the master sketch ESP, and I also need to make this invisible so that I don't see it. Okay, and then we are going to copy this, and this, and this, and make it normal geometry. And then we are going to, oh right, multibodies is also another thing that LinkStage allows. So I could, in theory now, maybe it's a good idea to just demonstrate that instead of trying to explain it. If I create a new, hello, part design, yeah. Oh, I'm still in the sketch view from the other thing. So wait, let me quickly finish this before I demonstrate this. So if we now just create a new body here and create a new sketch on the XY plane, and then we do, I don't know, we just do the circle here and the circle here, and then we do a rectangle here, and then we close this, and now we say we want to pad this. LinkStage does this. That works. I now have a body that has 3 individual shapes, basically. If I do this in vanilla FreeCAD, it will tell you it cannot create multiple shapes, and you have to create an individual sketch for each of these. So, but we can now throw this away because this was a nonsensical thing. Okay, pocket. Pocket location seems to be the right one. We are now going to pocket this. Cancel. I forgot to actually select the sketch that I want to pocket. And now we need to make sure this comes to around here. So let's see. That means we need, what is this? Oh, you know what? I'm simply going to eyeball it now instead of making life difficult for me. 9 millimeters, maybe 10. Let's keep it at 9 and call it a day. Oh, or no. Oh, come on. We're doing it. we are doing it cleanly. So this is spreadsheet.plate thickness minus spreadsheet.plate wall height plus spreadsheet.wall plus. So I'm just trying to go through all the layers that we have added here in the Z height and trying to figure out how big this needs to be. So the ESP compartment starts at the old, basically at the old back here, which is at wait. Yeah, so this thing here has plate height, but we are starting from this surface, so we are subtracting the plate width, the plate wall height. So this only gives us the part within, and then we need to add some more. So we need to add the wall thickness for the ESP compartment, and then we need to go further, the whole height of the ESP compartment, and then subtract 2 times wall from that because we do not want to interfere with this cutout here. So we are now going to add ESP height and then 2 times, no wait, not 2 times wall. Actually just ESP height, I think. That sounds about right. Let's check how this looks. That was too far. Now we need to actually subtract the wall from that. And that looks about right. And it would happen, see, my 9 millimeters wasn't that far off anyhow. And now we have a big, nice, comfy cutout here. That works. Then I said I want to turn this little 2 millimeter cutout here for the wire passing through a bit bigger. And for that I need to find, this was the sketch where I did the already. Actually, I need to adjust the master sketch again. So we need to remove this 2 millimeter, or rather, let's first start with the slot and then. So we want a slot here. We want the slot to be symmetrical to the middle line. We want the slot to be slightly bigger than this because I also need to get the 2.5 something millimeter connector through it. So we are going to give this a thickness of 3 millimeters. And we also want this slot to be located with its midpoint at the same point as the circle currently is. And then we can just remove the circle. I did say close, did I? Yes, okay, now I did. So we did that, and now this sketch is complaining because it lost some geometry that it is referencing. So instead of this here, we are going to tell it to instead copy this and then turn it into actual geometry again instead of guides. And boom, there we have a slot. Nice, works, perfect. So that also works. Okay, and now we also want some I design a lot with multiple parts in it. Does this also work? I honestly always still keep them in individual bodies. I don't know. Worth a try, I guess, to figure that out. But I have to say that after over a year of FreeCAD, I do not miss anything from Fusion 360. Maybe a bit that the filleting usually was a bit more forgiving. So if I have some kind of edge that slims down or something. In Fusion that would fillet usually, and in FreeCAD it is a bit hit or miss, but mostly it just works now for me. And it took me about a weekend of working through some Model Mania design challenges to just get up to speed again, and everything since I've just been learning again. Also, look at that. So this cutout that we made, that added another one of these lines here that we don't really need and want. So I'm going to set this refine parameter to true as well, and that should hopefully get rid of it once it stops calculating, which it did. So yeah, now this is clean looking and works just like it should. So next thing, vent holes. I want to go with a very basic slot design here. You could probably go really fancy here and all that, but frankly, I don't think it really matters much. So we are simply going to go with some angled slots here, and so I'm going to go on that now. No, I'm not going to cut out an Octoprint logo because that would be way too complicated. I think I'm going to add that to the master sketch for the ESP. So frankly, at this point, I probably should have called it the master sketch top or something. But yeah, so what we're going to do is, again, the slot tool, and I'm doing a slot here. And the problem with the slot tool is the slots are only supposed to be vertical or horizontal, but it turns out if you just delete this here and then say this is at an angle of 60, maybe, I don't know, it will happily turn it and not complain about that. And then we also need to give it a size, and this is one of the rare cases where I actually use this dimensioning tool here, 2 millimeters maybe. And we also need a length. No, actually we are going to anchor the, so wait, yeah, I need a helper line because I need the mirror line of this thing. So this is at a right angle, and you are symmetrical to you. Wait, does this make sense what I'm doing here? You know what? I'm doing this way too complicated. We are removing that. I'm simply going to give this, the top and the bottom, a fixed distance from up there. So let's say 5 millimeters here, 5 millimeters here. And I think 60 degrees is a bit too much. Let's try maybe half that, huh? Oh, wait, sorry, maybe more than that. 70? 70 looks okay-ish. Vertical helper lines from the circle center to the x-axis. Wait, or... Heh! I have a better idea. A way better idea. Which makes it also so that I don't have to define it twice. So I do a helper guideline from both, so through both circle centers. Then I put a point in the middle of that. Then I'm going to tell the circle centers that they are point symmetrical to this point, and then I'm going to tell the point that it is located on the x-axis. Boom, symmetrical. So I can still do this and this and this, but yeah, it now scales. And then we are giving this a distance of 3 maybe. 3 looks better than 5. And also in this direction. So that is 1. Obviously, we are going to need more than 1, but first of all, we are now going to cut that out. First of all, we are now going to create a new sketch. Oops. On the XY plane, offset by not the degrees. No. We don't want to put it at an angle. Point symmetric, setting the two centers. I could probably have, maybe? I don't know. Might actually be, yeah, it probably would have worked. Good point. Yeah, but the helper line also works, or rather it made it more clear for me, so this is also sometimes quite helpful. Okay, so wait, offset by spreadsheet.esp height plus 2 times spreadsheet wall thing. I think this should be the right location. We'll have to figure that out. Okay, and then we are going to enable our master sketch ESP again, make this invisible so that we can actually see our slot. And then we copy the geometry again. I mean, honestly, we could also just have created this on its own sketch instead of adding it to the master sketch, come to think of it, but this is how we did it now, and so we are going to do it. That looks like I went in the wrong direction with the attachment. I think this all needs to be negative. So it's minus that, minus that. Is this the right place? I'm doubtful. Wait, do I maybe have like a datum plane at the right look? Yeah, I'm simply going to attach it to the datum plane instead of going with all this nonsense here. 0. And then we are going to not attach to the XY plane, but instead to one of our, wait, this needs a name. Is this the, yeah, this is our datum. I did not actually want to double click on that. This is the top plane. This makes it so much easier. And then we are going to tell this sketch that it is now supported not by the XY plane, but instead by the wherever it is. Top plane there. And that moved it at the right location. And if we now pocket, in the other direction and through all, we have one ventilation slot. Of course, one ventilation slot is a bit lame. We need more. So first of all, let me make this invisible again. So we are going to use a linear pattern with our ventilation slot pocket operation here. And if we scroll out a bit, we see it has now set, it now currently does this at for a length of 100 millimeters and does 2 in this direction. So that is of course completely wrong. First of all, we need to go in the other direction. And then we certainly don't need to go for 100 millimeters, but rather for something like, I don't know, 30 maybe. Maybe a bit more. I could calculate that. I know, I don't want to. This is stuff where I usually just, maybe 40, 45. Nah, 40. We need to be careful that we don't go through the yeah, but that looks solid. Okay, so that looks good. And then we do not want just 2, but actually some more. So let's see how many we can fit there so that it still looks good. And I would say 5, 6. 6 looks good, right? And I honestly don't have a concrete reason why I do it that way. So why I do a linear pattern on the pocket operation instead of a linear array in the sketch. To be honest, I think I just never used the mirror. Or, is there even a pattern function here? I know there is a mirror operation. But there is an additional thing that is quite nice here on the bottom. Let me check that again. It's just constraint stuff. I don't see anything here. But there is an additional reason. So I do not do this here right now, but maybe I should. Wait, we are going to do this again. Let me quickly take a look. That was 40 millimeters reverse and 6. We are going to remove this again. And then I'm going to fillet this by 1 millimeter. And now we are going to do the linear pattern again. And we are going to do it for the fillet and the cutout. Reverse, what was it, 40? And 6. And now all of them are filleted. And so I repeated all of the steps, all two of the operations instead of 1. And high braid, I learned that by just watching a lot of tutorials, trying stuff out until it worked, and that's it. So I never got any kind of official education in CAD. I'm a software developer by trade, so I just usually click on everything that looks like it could help me, then see how it breaks things and try to remember them. And also, as I said, a lot of YouTube tutorials as well. So can really recommend looking into some of the awesome people on YouTube streaming and not streaming, making content about FreeCAD. There's some very good, very great stuff. Look for the Sketcher and Cura instead of FreeCAD. Yeah, that is going to be hard to find there. And don't ask me what the job market is like for CAD. I don't know. I just do this for designing my own stuff and not for any kind of monetary gain. Okay, Master Sketch ESP again. No, actually, we're not going to do that this time. Hello, close. Oh dear, that was a long operation. Because that was wrong. Let me check. I go back into the sketch. Oh no, it's not in this. It's in the part design. Or what? Wait, I go on a sketch and then in a sketcher. Okay, let me return into sketcher. And then in this constraints menu bar, constraint refraction, toggle driving reference, activate, deactivate constraint. The bottom bar. Oh, this here? Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's good to know. The next time I will try it with this and see what the downsides are of doing it that way. Awesome. And then, and also no, you really don't need a beefed up PC for this kind of work. Yeah, I've also done this on a very regular, trivial laptop, and yeah, I mean, the only thing that you need to bring, if it is a really slow machine, you need some more patience maybe for the calculation stuff. You could, in theory, also disable so whenever you change something, it will recompute automatically, and you can also disable this automatic recompute and just wait then for a long time at a point in time of your choosing. Okay, so we still need to do the same vent stuff for the lid, which is currently all vent free. Also, it is not at the right location. If you look here, it is slightly offset towards the top. So I have to figure out what is going on there. I think I probably just put the sketch on the wrong... Yeah, the sketch is slightly offset. This is going to be 3D printed. I don't have anything else than this. And I don't think I need ESP ventilation specifically because the thing will just happily work even when it runs a bit hot. But what I'm thinking is, if it cannot vent and the heat builds up, I run a risk of the heat seeping through so outside of the compartment basically. And I want to just give the ESP all chances it can get to get the hot air out. I don't want to have it in the case. So if this was just an enclosure for an ESP without any kind of heat sensitive sensor inside, then I would just say, who cares? Let this thing run a bit hotter, no problem. But given that any heat creep through this area here will again throw off the calibration of my sensor, yeah. I'm simply not going to risk it. Okay, so this sketch here, where is it attached? Oops, I said where is it attached? Oh, wonderful. The neighbors are drilling their walls again on a Sunday evening at almost 6 p.m. I have no idea what they are doing. But it's driving me crazy. And yeah, that if this turns out to not work, though in the prototype so far it's working nicely, so I now got values again that look a bit more sensible. I could still do that, and also, I don't know, isolate the inside of the Who in their right mind drills walls on a Sunday evening? I hope you cannot hear that. If so, really sorry. But I have some really nice neighbors. But this is just... I could, but I do not... I could report them, of course, to the... yeah, basically to the facility managers here, but I could also just blast Rammstein back or something. That would also be an option, but yeah. Usually I would just turn up the music on my headphones now, but I don't want to do that because that might lead to me stumbling over my words because of the lyrics. So something is wrong here. And this should not be plate wall height, but actually plate wall, and this is probably what is wrong here. Nah, it still looks wrong. Or is it now at the right... It is now at the right spot. Yeah, I just did not see that. Yeah, okay. Let's check by enabling the lid. Yeah, that looks like a snug fit. And actually, I think that it can be a bit bigger than this, because when I printed this as a test, yeah, we don't need that much of of a margin. It's totally fine, in my opinion, to drill during day. It sucks for me because I'm in a home office, but I can see that it needs to be done at some point. But frankly, and I'm also still somewhat fine on a Saturday, personally, because I think people who are working the whole week and do not want to annoy their neighbors at evening, they have to do it sometime. That's also fine. But on a Sunday, that really is... I mean, Sundays have a special place in German culture and all that, so that really is not okay. And I have to accommodate for shrink, yes. But I also have some experience as to how my printer behaves. So we did a fit... I'm confused right now. Where did we did the fit tolerance thing? Oh, we did the fit tolerance thing not on the lid, but actually on the cutout for the lid, right? That was the trick. Now we have to find it again. Pad, mirror pad. Pocket? No. That was a pad. No, it was a pocket. That looks like the right one. Yeah, so we, instead of going with 1.5, we're going to go with 1.25. Maybe half of that. That should still fit nicely. And it's recomputing, and now it looks a bit more snug. And also, I think the lid can be a bit higher. So there's also still a large gap out there. So currently we are padding it to what? Plate wall minus, yeah, we do the same here. 1.25, 0.25. Now that looks a bit too snug, actually. Oh, right, because the cutout draft or cutout offset thing here is per side, and this is not per side. So oh, yeah, that looks better. Yeah, that looks nice. That is, yeah, perfect. Okay. So and instead of recalculating that, I'm simply going to copy it. Yeah, yes, I click reference. I did click something wrong here. Make this the active thing and then a new sketch. Where did it put this now? Cancel. No, close. I don't want this there. Ah, I made it in reference to the linear pattern, which of course makes absolutely no sense at all. So new sketch. You need a planar fan. Can I just please create a new? Thank you. XY plane. Offset by this. Okay. Okay. And we need to go on the other side because I'm not seeing what I need to see. Okay. Then we need the this because we need to know where our internal compartment even is. Yeah. And then we no longer need to see it. And now we can also add some more slots. So now the question is, how shall we orient these slots? Should we try the same angle? Or should we do what I did with the prototype here, where I'm going to add with the prototype here, where I went with a completely horizontal design. Any opinions here? No Octoprint logo. Octoprint logo is out of the question. I don't want everything in my house to be all Octoprint. 2 votes for the angle. Yeah, okay. Another vote for the angle. My own idea is also rather go with the angle, so we are going with the angle again. So I need to go back to regular geometry, do a slot. That is and now the church bells ring. By the way, tolling church bells are not a noise violation according to German law. I educated myself because this is fairly loud and annoying here. Okay, that was 30 degrees, right? Oh no, it was not. It was not 30, it was 80? And obviously in the other direction. And the other direction is 100. Does this look right? That looks wrong. Let me quickly check what we did here, because I honestly... Isn't this the right sketch? Oh no, that was in the master sketch. 110? Yeah, 110. Good point. Thank you. It was probably... Yeah, it was 70. Yeah, thank you. So, back to the sketch. 110. That looks right. Okay, and then this and this is now, let's say 2 for a check if it looks good, and if it is too big, then we can always change it. And I think that was 3 millimeters here and here as well. And then we also still need to do the thing, and we need to figure out if the idea works where we say we just place a point and we do the point symmetry, and then we place the point on the... And that works! Isn't this nice? And now, while we are at it, we can actually... We cannot... I had the idea to say that we just try a rectangular array here, but it is grayed out, and frankly, I do not want to figure out now why, so we are simply going to do the same that we did with the other thing, and are now going to... First of all, we need to pocket in the other direction through everything. That should hopefully not go through... Yeah, okay. Okay. And then we need to fillet this. Yeah. We need to fillet this. And then we are going to do a repeated pattern. Oh, I had to select geometry. Okay. But yeah, so once again, wrong direction and wrong length. And now we actually might have to do some calculating, but I'm still hoping that we don't have to. Okay, wait, so what we did with the slot was that we placed it at 3 millimeters offset from the one side of the compartment. And then we also need to take the angle into account, and that would involve at least one sinus operation. And no, just no, I don't want to calculate that. Ugh. I think we are just going to eyeball it. Looks good enough. Okay, and then 4, 2, 4, right? Looks okay. It's a bit annoying that the distance is not the same, but yeah. Now we can also still go with, I think, maybe 1 more millimeter or at least 0.5 millimeter there. Let's try 1. That is too much. That looks better. Let me check. Can I do anything here that... So, yeah, the problem is I think that I cannot... Okay. Stop. Let's see if we can maybe actually do this somehow in the sketch. So we go back to this, we remove the fillet. We go into the sketch. We select this, and this. And then we try this. We need columns. Equal vertical, horizontal spacing. What does this do? We've selected each element in an array is constrained with respect to the others using construction lines. That was because you looked on the back plate, basically. Is selected substitutes additional. The problem is that I hate it when there is no preview for stuff like that. So let's see what... okay. I see. So we now just put that here. No, that does weird stuff. Wait, no. Okay, so I can now say that this is supposed to be... That did not like that. I chose it the gap between 2 copies. Okay, let's try that again. We want these edges. We want them to be... and then we want it to be, I don't know, something like this. But this should actually be... okay. So I have to change that to -180. And then I have to... I actually remove this and instead say that this has a horizontal of 3. No, that does not work. Okay. Also, I really need more than 3, I think. I need 4. So let's try that again. 4. In this direction. Somewhat like this-ish. Then we say -180. Then we say you have a distance of, hello, I want this point there, please. There. 3 millimeters, 3 millimeters. Inverted constraint, what? Hi, Amber. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I still have the distance constraint, of course. So remove that. Then we can say you are so... Oh, it's so hard to trigger that point. Okay. 3 millimeters. 3, not 4. So this now works, but up there it's still all wrong. But now you don't see it that much anymore because, yeah, okay. So we need helper lines. There. Here. 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 Actually, we don't need helper lines, come to think of it, because we can just say that you are parallel to this. Shouldn't this work? You are parallel to this, and you are parallel to this. Oh yeah, what JP Thiele said. Or Thiele, rather, probably. And now it's all cut out and looks nice and all. And now that gets, and that, and that, and that each gets a fillet. Okay, hooray, we have a lid. So, major compartment or master compartment is vented, all nice. ESP compartment is also vented so that we don't get heat creep through the through the bottom of it here. We have a slot to thread everything through, and we have also reduced the thickness here of the clips. Now, the part that Gumiku is probably all waiting for, a lot of filleting commences now. So we want this to be filleted and this to be filleted. And I selected an edge. What is, oh, I'm not in the active body. That is also something that I always have to remember, that when I do fillet operations, I always need to select the body first. So blob, wait, stop. I wanted to give this and this the same fillet. So I could use 1 millimeter, but frankly, that looks a bit too anemic. 2 is too much though, so let's try 1.5. No. Oh yeah, it worked. 1.5. Oh, but that is probably too. 1.4. The problem is the fillet can't be bigger than the thing that we want to fillet, and I want to fillet the lid as well, of course, because right now it looks stupid the way that it looks. So we are selecting the lid, and we do the same here. That thankfully works. So that is nice. And I just remembered that we probably also want to extend, no, we actually don't need to extend the fillet to this here. I think that would look, it looks better probably if it's snug. How did I do that in the test print? In the test print, I did fillet it and it looks stupid. So we are not going to do that. Then bon appetit, Gumiku. And Mr. Jacob, no, we will add the tabs. But good point, I should probably have done this before I did the final filleting, but we are going to do it now. So, the tabs. As a reminder, we are talking about these little, do you focus? Yeah, about these little things here. Also, I should maybe have stopped it from autofocusing because that just made it confused about the green screen. But yeah, so we need these tabs in there because they are, yeah, basically register points with the case that we are working against. So with that thing, wonderful. I printed it in green, and so now it's transparent here. There is some problems here. So I usually try to design so that I can get away with the minimum amount of support. And the way this is going to be printed is that this, what you're seeing here right now, is going to be the bottom. So it would be nice if the tabs were not just, if this is the case, the tabs were not just going through it like this, but they were actually anchored at the bottom. The problem, however, is that the tabs are also supposed to be rounded. So on the sides, and they need to be, because they need to fit into the clearances on the case where all of this is supposed to be slotted in. So what I tried before was simply modeling it with the radius of the fillets already there. But then I could not chamfer it in the way that I needed it. Then I tried modeling it as a loft. So with a rounded tab thingy below, and then a slightly slimmer rounded thing up above. But the loft didn't calculate well. So what in the end worked in the prototype that I did earlier this week was, or not earlier this week, I think on Friday, was that I designed them simply as some very simple rectangles and chamfered them and then applied fillets to the chamfers, and that worked. So I hope that it will work again as well now too. So the location of the fillets is handily enough our XY plane, and not of the fillets, sorry, of the tabs. So what first of all, we need to select this thing again. So what we can do now is, as a reminder, no, actually we are going to redesign them. So what we are going to do now is we are going to create a new sketch on the XY plane. And we are going to make all of this invisible and make the master sketch visible again. And then we are going to simply copy in these lines because we need them for reference. And oops, I left the sketch. I was not actually planning on doing that. It was a mistake. Why am I seeing so much here? Ah, okay. Now, ignore what we did in the master sketch for them, the rounded stuff. We don't need it anymore. Instead, we are going to put some rectangles on here. Because this is really going to be way faster than, than copying stuff now. These are all going to be equal in length. They are going to be equal in size of the short edge as well. I accidentally selected this up there instead. Sometimes the targeting is a bit tricky. You can't fine-tune this in the settings of FreeCAD. But it's also tricky to find a good and sensible value so it doesn't over-select. So yeah, and then we are going to make all of this symmetrical to the respective, to the respective line axis. Oh, come on. You, and you. And you, and you. And now we can dimension it. So this actually needs to be tab, I think, length. And this needs to be depth. And that is already what we need to be able to do all this. Okay, so we sketched this. We want to see what we do next. Now we are going to pad that sketch. And we are going to pad it in two directions. So first of all, in the first length, that is our thickness that we measured here. And actually forgot to put into the spreadsheet, so it's going to get hard-coded now, which is 1.6. And in the other direction, I'm trying to figure out how to size it. So it's out 1. So let's make it 0.9 maybe. No, wait, 1.1. Because we want to chamfer this with roughly the whole distance it has from the outer wall, so that it will support itself. But FreeCAD really does not like that if you say have this 1 millimeter up, and then you also chamfer it by 1 millimeter, because then it would have to cut up right to the outside of it, and that FreeCAD cannot calculate that, or maybe Open Cascade rather. So what I do in these cases is just give it a smidgen more of height, or make the chamfer a smidge smaller, and that then just works and solves the problem. All right. So we are going to chamfer this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. Is this right? Yeah, this is right. We are going to chamfer it by 1. That is actually correct. Ah, recompute failed. Why does the recompute? Oh no, 0.9. 0.9. There we go. And then we are also going to round over these edges, if I manage to target them. And we do that with spreadsheet tab radius. And that is that. And if I'm not mistaken, that should be everything, really. I mean, we can also now go ahead and make it a bit more filleted in the compartment, just so there are not that many. Actually, it makes sense to... where was the... I need to lose the lid for a bit. To fillet this on both sides, because we have to thread some wiring through. And then, yeah, just because it looks nicer, we can also fillet this. I'm going hog wild. Yeah. And then to make it a bit more easy to get the nuts in these nut pockets here, we can also chamfer these. Just so that, you know, the nut is basically guided in these pockets. And that is that. So one more thing. And this is rather because I already printed a first version of this, slightly adjusted earlier, and found some. So when I printed that, I gave myself a 0.5 millimeter clearance on both of these dimensions here, and also one, I think, on the top length. And it turns out that was actually not really needed for the print. So on the top length, it was helpful. On the did I actually do it on the top length? Yeah, I did. So this was originally 10, and so I'm going to... Why it is... The reason why it was thinking just now so long was because it was recalculating stuff, because I could have changed something that was driven by something in here, and yeah. And yeah, I also have inserts, and I use them here and there, but in this case, not just made... Well, it's just, I know, I don't know, it is so easy to use it here, so... So we are going to reduce this by 0.5, because that turned out to be really a good fit on printing it. And we are going to reduce the plate length by only 0.25, because 0.5 turned out to be a bit too much. So 6.5, no, 4.5 should be right? Yeah. So that that should be fine now. The clip distance was okay. The clip width and clip height and all of that was also okay. Tab depth was fine. 33.3. Oh, right. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good point. There you go. Thank you for the heads up. Okay. So that is now resized a bit. And yeah, so that is ready to be thrown on the printer, and I will do that after the stream. Actually, I have a frog in my throat, as we would say in German. I'm pretty sure it's not COVID. I just talked a lot yesterday, so. Okay, so that would be that. As I said, these clips are probably going to break sooner rather than later, but it turns out that just without the clips, it's already a fairly snug fit. But I just want to give it every fighting chance in life it can have, so the clips are there. And the rest should hopefully print nicely, and yeah. Let's add the lid back on. Yeah, let's export that. Wait, so first of all, the backplate. And then also the lid. And then, just out of curiosity, I'll fire up Cura and we see how it looks and sliced and all that, and if we need to fix something there. Yeah, it's still loading. I'll drag it over to the screen, and once it does, okay, so let's see. We want to print these two. Looks okay. This will need support. Support should be enabled though, I think. Yep. Let's see. 1 hour, 23 minutes. Looks good, I would say. It's a bit hilarious how it is trying to support the clips here, but then fails horribly. Yeah, they are not going out that far, so it should work if we just print them like they are. I mean, in theory, I would probably not. I need it for the holes here. Yeah, okay, the holes need support. Now, well, let me quickly fire up the printer, and then we can actually even send it over. It's operational. Kind of confused right now that the light is not going on, but okay. The post process that I have applied there, oh, now it is, yeah, is that it includes the a preview image of the rendered piece in the G-code so that it can be displayed in Octoprint's file list then nicely. And the camera is crooked again. Look. Better. Ah, the irony, by the way, of writing Octoprint to be able to have the printer sitting in the different room and then actually Octoprint ending up to become my full-time job and then having a lot of printers sitting right next to me in my office anyhow. So yeah, that kind of ended weirdly. But yeah, so that should now hopefully do its thing. But yeah, I think the result is fairly nice. Nice refinement at where it was needed as well. Rounded corners, good venting, pass-through possibility, all nice and fits, hopefully. But if not, fully parametric, so it's just easy to change stuff that needs changing, which is something that I really absolutely adore about FreeCAD. I just wish that it wasn't a spreadsheet thing that I needed to fire up for that, but just a simple key value thing where I can just enter a key and assign a value and the key is immediately available without me having to assign an alias to it. But yeah, I've tried to look into something like this, but so far I have absolutely no clue and can't make heads nor tails of the source code. Should be up to heat now, right? Come on. It's making it really, really, yeah. Yoo-hoo, another convert. Thank you for this, Mr. Jacob. Yeah, I mean, it takes a bit of just getting used to FreeCAD, I think, especially if you come from another CAD package, but this is always the case. So this, if you switch from, let's say, SolidWorks to Fusion, everything will feel backwards anyhow, as well. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference from my very limited experience, I think. But and yeah, the problem really is that, or rather the problem with proprietary solutions for this kind of stuff is that you get this vendor lock-in situation, and this just is something that annoys me greatly. And yeah, that seems to be working. In the jar, well, peanuts. That is my little peanut stash for when I need something to snack on while I'm coding. And I honestly don't know what first layer speed I have here. Where were the speeds again? So I'm printing in Extruder NX2 here, or is it NX2? Yeah, it's NX2. 40 millimeters per second. Yeah, don't get too confused about the jar. It's just I had to put that stuff somewhere, and for some reason this is I can just, easily reach it, but not too easily reach it, which after I once torpedoed my whole evening plans and evening dinner plans, especially with too many peanuts while working, is a good thing. So yeah, that is the idea here. Okay, there's still one thing that I need to design, but not in this stream, so there might be another one of these, and also especially if you're interested in that, I got myself a smartwatch for Christmas, and currently I'm charging this on my nightstand, and this is a bit annoying because then usually in the morning I forget it there. So what I would like to have is a charger mounted with with some teaser stripes or 3M command stripes wherever you're located in my bathroom, so I can just, when I get ready for bed in the evening, just put it on the charger there. And I don't want to just have the charger hanging around somewhere, so I want to actually have it in some kind of wall mount. So this is something that I still need to design it. If there is interest, I can obviously also do it live. But yeah. Shaver socket, basically. Yeah. I have a bunch of stuff in my bathroom actually, because there's also some sensors in there and the Sonos and all that. So I do have an extension cord, not an extension strip, and there's still some place in there. So yeah. Also, in roughly 24 hours, I'm also going to throw the recording of that up on my YouTube channel. So if you want to revisit this later, it will also go on Twitch as a VOD, but if you want to revisit it later as well, it will be there. It will not be lost to history. And I'll also post to Twitter the result of that once it has printed out in about 1.5 hours. But that's about it, I think. So if there are any questions that you have that you maybe want to see again or something, now is the time to ask them. Because now I'm still here. So if there is any kind of thing I did while modeling this yet in this stream or in the last one that you would like to get some more info on, then just shoot. Or if you have any kind of question that you would like me to try to answer, because again, I'm self-taught. I just learned this whole piece of software about a bit over a year ago myself, but I at least know my way around it somewhat. So I'm happy to answer any questions here as well, if you have any, and otherwise I just call it a day now. So anything? Oh, it's squeaking. So I take this silence as a no, nothing, nothing to ask. That is fine. But in that case, I wish all of you, well, who are in my time zone, I wish all of you in my time zone and a good Sunday night and evening, and everyone else, whatever it is, good day, good afternoon, good morning, whatever. And yeah. Thank you for being all here. It's very nice to see so many people active in the stream and asking questions and all that. So it feels like I'm doing something useful here for once instead of just playing games. And yeah, good start into the new week. Actually, good start into my into work life this year for me, because this is the last day of my vacation today. So, but yeah, I'm returning to Octoprint tomorrow. Wish me luck. That I don't find it too horrible. No, not horrible, but yeah, you know, first day after vacation is always a bit of a stressful day. Yeah. Anyhow, see you all, and thanks for joining, and I hope to see you in the next one, whenever that will be. As I said last time, this is not going to be something completely and utterly regular, but just more like with some warning beforehand, something like 24 hours beforehand, something that I will do and announce on Twitch and all that. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.